Hey guys, this is Smithy. Welcome to my channel. If you guys are new here, welcome, and if you guys have already been subscribed to the channel, thank you so much for subscribing. Today's video is yet another dupe video, and today we're going to dupe Melt's newest eyeshadow palette, and that's the Brunet palette. Now this palette comes with 8 shades and it is retailed at $48, and this palette has 5 mattes and 3 shimmers. I think that's a good balance of mattes and shimmers, but it is yet another neutral palette in the market. So as you guys know, there's a galore of neutral palettes that's happening in the industry now, with the Patrick Ta palette, with the Ambience palette, now the Brunet palette, with the KKW Camo palette. There is so much in the market. If you guys want to see any of the dupes of these palettes, definitely let me know in the comment section below. But without further ado, let's dive right into the video. So I duped the Melt's Brunet palette using my 2 Wet n Wild palettes. These palettes together would cost you $10. So just saying, I'm very happy with the dupes that I created. I also have this tutorial at the end of the video using these dupes. So if you guys want to see the tutorial, stay tuned. But let's start duping these shadows. The first shade in the Melt's Brunet palette is known as Suede, it's a pale matte creamy white shade. And this is being duped by the second shade in the Rosé in the Air palette. The second shade is called Buff. It's a matte cream shade, which is being duped by the second shade in Call Me Sunshine palette. The third shade in the palette is called Cork, which is duped by the 10th shade in Rosé in the Air palette. And this is truly a neutral brown shade, best for like putting it in the transitioning area. The fourth shade in the Melt palette is called Musk, which is the first shimmer in the palette, and this is more of like a rosy bronze shade, which is being duped by the fourth shade in Call Me Sunshine palette. The fifth shade in the palette is known as Tan, which is a deep brown matte shade in the palette, and this is being duped by the 10th shade in the Call Me Sunshine palette. The sixth shade in the palette is known as Bourbon. It's more of a copper shimmer shade, and this is being duped by the 6th shade in the Call Me Sunshine palette. The 7th shade in the palette is known as Stout, which is more of a green gold shimmer in the palette, and this is being duped by the 8th shade in the Call Me Sunshine palette. And the last shade in the palette is called Brunet, which is a matte deep neutral brown shade, and this is being duped by the 9th shade in Rosé in the Air. And those were my dupes for the Melt's Brunet palette. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, definitely do give it a thumbs up and do share this video with your friends. I personally feel the quality of the Wet n Wild shadows are really good, especially the ones that they have come in like the 10-pan packaging. I really love it, and the swatches came out like perfect. I will definitely give you swatches on the screen so that you guys can see it for yourself. All these swatches are like one swipe swatches, which are just like smoothened out, but it gives great impact on the eyes too. So I personally feel that it is a wonderful dupe to the Melt's palette. Again, there is no dud in this palette, so I would say it's definitely a thumbs up from my side. Now if you guys want to see the tutorial of the eye look, then let's dive right in. I first took the second shade in Rosé in the Air and then dusted all across the eyelids so that it can be like a base on top of the concealer that I applied on my eyes. And then I took the second shade from the Call Me Sunshine palette and also dusted it all across my eyelids so that it is closer to my skin tone. Then I took the last shade in Rosé in the Air and applied that in my crease for a transitioning shade. And I also applied the same shade on my lower lash line. Then I took the 10th shade in Call Me Sunshine palette and applied it right in the outer corner of my eye, just to deepen up the outer corners, and I also applied the same shade underneath my lower lash line. Now I took the 8th shade in the Call Me Sunshine palette and I'm applying that on top of my eyelid, just to give it more of like a green gold shade. Now I'm going to take the 6th shade in the Call Me Sunshine palette and I'm applying that in my inner third of my eyelid. Now for my inner corner, I'm going to take this shade, the 4th shade in the Call Me Sunshine palette. And I'm just going to scoop it right in the inner third of the eye. It applies a little more deeper in the pan, but once you apply it on your skin, it's a little more of like a rosy, bronzy shade. And that's my final look. So I finished off my eyes by applying Essence liquid liner, and also I applied the Wet n Wild's Big Popper mascara on my eyes just to finish off my eyes. And on my waterline, I lined it with my Essence Extreme Lasting Eye Pencil in the shade But First Espresso. And that's my final look, guys. For my lips, I already had the L'Oreal lipstick in the shade He Thinks He's Macho. So I thought that would complement my eyes really well. So yeah, that's my final look. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this tutorial. And I also hope that I could save you some money. If you guys do have this Wet n Wild palettes, I think it's an absolute wonderful option instead of the Melt's Brunet palette. Since there are like a lot of speculations about Melt eyeshadow, formulas. I personally do not own any Melt eyeshadow. I'm interested in trying them, but definitely this won't be my first palette. I'm looking for a unique color story so that I can do my first purchase for the Melt. I'm definitely not against it, but if you guys like Melt eyeshadows and that's the color story that's speaking to you, definitely go ahead and purchase that. I am definitely not going to tell you whether you need to purchase that or not. But if you were trying to find dupes or similar color options, I think this is absolutely fine, and I came like very, very close to it. I really think so. And you'll see the swatches on the screen itself. I compared it to the Melt's Instagram page where they were swatching this palette, and that's how I found my dupes. So yes, if you guys found this helpful, definitely do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so that you're notified every time that I post next. I generally upload every Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays at 9 AM Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!